Hello everybody and welcome back to part 3 of our Warhammer Age of Sigmar Champions Learn to Play. So I'm joined by Donnie and Jacob and we've gone through looking at what goes into a deck, we've looked at the placement phase and now we're ready for the battle to begin.
Yeah.
So, do you want to, you're going first, right Jacob?
I'm going first.
Okay, so show us how we start this.
So I'm going to take the first turn of the game. So as we said earlier, I'm going to start with 4 cards in my hand.
Yep.
Your turn is broken down roughly into 2 parts. So the first part is the battlefield phase, where any units and spells you have in play are going to rotate and apply their effects. Yep. Because this is the first turn, we're going to skip past that one because I obviously don't have anything in play yet. Yep. So then we're going to go into the action phase, where I get 2 actions that I can spend on playing cards or using heroic acts on my champions or units in play, which sometimes have extra powerful effects. I can also choose to skip one of my actions or both my actions to draw new cards at the end of my turn.
So you draw a card for every action you skip?
Yeah. So in this case though, I'm going to, for my first action, play a Murderous Vargeist unit.
Okay. So what does this one do?
So this one's going to do damage on all of its corners, but I've got to choose which champion I want to deploy this onto. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to deploy this one onto my Hungering Vampire Lord. Okay. So when I deploy this unit, because it is a vampire unit, it satisfies the first stage of my Hungering Vampire Lord's quest. Okay. So each one of these symbols represents a different thing that this champion needs to do to earn favor. Yep. So this guy, having brought forth a vampire, is happy to rotate to his next quest objective. So
some characters have just a red shield, whereas he's got a red shield with like a pair of vampire wings on it. What's the difference?
So this one's just any unit, not too fussed about what it is. This guy specifically needs to have a vampire in play.
Okay, cool.
And so this one, now that I've rotated him for his quest, is going to apply its effect. Yep. So whenever you see this symbol, it's asking you to check your active corner, or your top left corner, for a value to plug in there. Yep. So in this case, we're going to be putting the 2. So it's going to do 2 damage to my opponent.
Okay. Here we go. Right, so that's your first action.
For my second action, I'm going to cast a spell. Yep. So I'm going to play the Soul Stealer. Now, because this one's a spell, it needs to be played by a wizard. Yep. I only have one of those that's still valid as a candidate. So that's going to be my Bloody Vampire Queen. Yep. And this one, it does nothing while it has an X showing. So it's going to do nothing for the next few turns, and then finally it's going to do damage and heal me.
And she doesn't obviously rotate this time because she was looking for a unit to be deployed. Yeah. But you played a spell.
That is correct.
Okay. So that's the now we would move into your draw phase.
Yep. So I used all my actions, so I have no cards to draw. So it's just going to skip on over to Donnie's turn.
Cool. Okay.
Yep. So for my first action, I'm going to play a Paladin Decimator. Yep. So now this is a Stormcast, so he meets the first criteria of his quest,
which is to play a Stormcast unit, and obviously you can also see that the unit type is represented there on the side of the unit. Yeah.
And then for my last action, or my second action, I'm just going to pass to draw 1 card.
Okay.
Cool. So it goes back over to my turn. Yep. So first things first, we're going to do the battlefield phase, and I'm going to rotate all of my cards in play. Okay. So now I'm going to go through and check for effects from left to right going across the board. So this one, the Soul Stealer, still has an X showing, so no effect again this turn. But my Murderous Vargeist is again going to put in that 2 damage and deal it to my opponent.
Okay, so that's going to keep hitting for damage over a number of turns. Yeah. Okay, so now, but doing those, that doesn't take any of your actions. That is something that happens before that phase. Yep.
Yep. So now I'm going to go to my action phase, and I don't really want to play either of the cards I've got at the moment, so I'm going to just skip both of my actions to draw 2 cards at the end of my turn. Okay. And it's going to go straight back over to Donnie.
Okay, so at the start of the phase, we rotate our units, dealing 1 damage.
Yep. So I'm going to take 1 from that one.
Yep. And now my actions, as there's nothing left to rotate. So I'm going to cast a spell. I'll do Arcane Bolt.
Okay.
So what does that do? That doesn't...
So it does nothing for the first 2 turns, and then it'll do a big hit of damage on the last corner.
Yeah. Okay.
And then...
Decisions.
Yep.
I will just pass to draw 1.
Okay.
Right, so back over to Jacob.
So I'm going to rotate all of my guys that I have in play. Yep. So we're going to do nothing again, unfortunately, and then 1 damage with the Murderous Vargeist, because it's down to a 1 in the top left corner.
And before you move on, I can see like the next corner of this doesn't have, there's nothing there. What does that mean?
So whenever a unit gets to an empty corner, or if a spell or a unit gets all the way back around to the start, they are exhausted and they go to the discard pile, so they're all used up. Okay. So they don't stay forever, unfortunately. No. So this one's going to go back like that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, actually, we're both on the third corner.
There you go.
So I'm going to play an ability card with my skeleton champion.
Yep.
So this is the Devour. So Devour lets me remove a highlighted spell or unit. So whenever we see the word highlighted on a card, it's asking us to check out the card's subject image, which is this, this little shape here at the bottom of the card. So this one, the little dot tells you that this is you, and it's asking you to check opposing with this red square. So it's asking me to remove this unit or spell.
Okay, so the opposing is red, and what about, is it anything, can there be some that affect things on your side?
Yeah, so if there's stuff that affects things on your side, it's going to be like this Lord Relictor, and it's going to have a green symbol there. And it'll show you, in this case, this one affects the 2 things to either side.
Okay, so but your Devour right now, what's that about to do?
It's going to remove this Paladin Decimator. And normally it would let me get a unit back from my discard pile, but I haven't got any there yet, so it's just going to be the removal.
You just wanted to get rid of the damage coming from the Decimator.
Yep. Now, because I've played an ability, I do its effect, and it goes away immediately. Those don't stay in play.
Okay.
So for my second action now, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that Donnie has no units left in play, and I'm going to play the Opportunity Strike ability with this Skeleton Champion.
Okay.
So this one does 2 damage to my opponent, and it increases by 3 if they have no highlighted units in play. And in this case, the highlight is his entire field.
Okay.
So because he hasn't got any units,
he only has a spell at the moment.
He only has a spell. I'm going to get 5 damage in with that one.
And then that also goes over to the discard.
Straight away.
Okay, so that's your 2 actions. Again, into the draw phase, nothing to do. So back over to Donnie.
Yep. So start the phase, we rotate.
Yep.
And then I'll play a Paladin Protector. So this basically talks about what you just mentioned, affects allied units.
Okay, yep.
And prevents damage from my opposing.
So it stops damage from, it reduces damage from 3 lanes opposite, and it protects the units either side. Okay, cool.
Stops them being removed.
He's doing some serious work, that guy. Nice.
He certainly
He's
is.
a pretty big trooper. And I will also I'll do an ability with this guy as well. I'll do Brutal Smash. It just does 2 damage to your opponent, increased by 4 if their hand size is 8 or more, which isn't.
So I take 2.
Doing that can force him to rotate.
So his first one was to
deal damage.
Deal damage. Okay, so he's now onto his second corner.
Cool.
And that's the end of my turn.
Sweet. Let's go back over to my turn.
Yep, we'll do one more. Let's do one more turn each.
Okay.
And then we'll call it here.
All right. So both of my cards are going to rotate.
Yep.
Now, because this has hit an empty corner, he goes away immediately.
Okay.
And this one's going to do its effect. So it's going to do 4 rend damage to my opponent. And rend damage is really cool because it ignores damage reducing effects. So the Protector's not going to save him here. And I get to heal for 4, back up to 31. I'm going to play out the Crypt Shield Black Knight, which is going to reduce damage received in a cone like this for the next couple of turns. And then in its last corner, it hits back for damage.
Right.
And then for my second action, I don't really feel like playing this, so I'm just going to draw 1 new card.
Okay, so come on, Donnie, your last turn in this playthrough. What are you going to do?
Paladin Protector rotates.
Reducing damage by 1 now.
Arcane Bolt rotates, dealing 7 damage.
Reduced by 1 because of my Crypt Shield Black Knight, so I take 6, all the way down to 25 health.
Okay. And then I'll use an ability with Vandus, Triumphant Smash. Remove a highlight enemy spell or unit. If a card is removed, I can rotate a unit 1 step backwards.
Cool.
So I can rotate and restart the spell.
So you've removed, who did you remove? You removed...
The Crypt Shield Black Knight got removed.
That let you rotate the Paladin back.
Correct. And then my last action, I'll just pass the draw.
Cool. Okay, so hopefully that's given you guys a good idea of how the game plays out. Obviously it will go back and forwards like this, and until we have a champion.
A champion.
A champion. One more champion. Okay, guys, well, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with another video very soon.